First of all, one great love, to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And that should be something that is set before us daily. As we see in Deuteronomy chapter 6, it's something that should be written on the doorpost of our house. That when we leave, when we come in, we are constantly reminded that the great thing we are about is to love the Lord our God. That when it all comes down to the basic root of everything, I'm to love the Lord my God. And I must be remembered. I must be reminded that this is the thing I'm to do. I'm to have one great love. And then again, I'm to have one great passion. We listen to Matthew 6:33 that kind of sums it all up. But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Men, how different would we be if only these two verses were taken seriously? If only these two verses were brought before our eyes 2 or 3 times a day. And as I said this morning, is it not true that you and I can go weeks without being reminded of the most important things in the Christian life? The things that God Himself incarnate set out for us are forgotten in all our activity and all our busyness. And everything we do, we are to do because it is the will of God and because it brings glory to God. Even the most menial tasks. Something that I often ask myself, when was the last time you drank a glass of water to the glory of God? That you relished a glass of water to the glory of God? When you drank it knowing it is a gift from God. It comes from Him and is to return to Him in praise. In a sense, we are to be reminded of Him every time we think, every time we look down at our hands and feet, every time we attempt any endeavor, we are to do it to the glory of God. There has never been a time in the life of Paul Washer that I have loved God as He ought to be loved. And there has never been a time in the life of Paul Washer that I have glorified God as He ought to be glorified. You see, it changes everything, doesn't it? Now it's not just a nitpicky little legalistic system that you can check off and say, I'm a righteous man. You see, holiness, when it comes down to it, is separation from the things that displease God in order to be separated unto the person of God, to esteem God above all things, infinitely above all things, His value, and to live in accordance with that estimation. So as men, our goal is to learn, is to grow in this truth that everything we do, we're to do for the glory of God. I have met men in the world that were not only consumed by passions, but were controlled by them. Men who are controlled by singular passion. I'll give you a perfect example. It's about to come upon us here, and it's the Olympics. And I in no way want to speak on this in a negative light, but I want to use it as an example. There are men who, since they were 6 years old, have done nothing but run down a 100-meter track. Every day of their life since they were 6 years old. They have gone without sleep. They have gone without hobbies. They have gone without lives. They have gone without dating. They have gone with absolutely everything in their life for one purpose: to run down a 100-meter track and get a medal. Is that not true? Look at those who do the gymnasts. They're absolutely amazing, their bodies. Many of them, since they were 3 and 4 years old, all they have ever done is eat and sleep this passion. And then there's us. It's not some gold medal to be hung around the neck or some wreath that will be put on our heads that will last only for a day. But you and I are called to be controlled by one singular passion, the doing of the will of God, and for a crown that does not perish. We must strive to be in the center of God's will.